Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Local Pundit. I'm Josh Anthony. This is your Wrexham news and update show for March 13th. Yes, it's Wednesday, March 13th. It's Hump Day. Yes, it's Hump Day. And we are, here we go. Get my shit together here. Have my thing on here. It's Hump Day, and we're ready to rock and roll. And we're going to do a little bit of a Wrexham reaction about the game yesterday. It was as you can see on the thumbnail, goalless but not soulless. Yes, a little bit, disappointing yesterday, but it wasn't a soulless match. I thought we were out there and we put our best foot forward. Things didn't quite work out and didn't get the points, but some other things happened that put us in a place where I don't feel bad about getting the point. Yesterday, obviously, Mansfield lost points yesterday. Tranmere won. They beat them, and who we play on Saturday. So, got to take the good with the bad. Obviously, we'll get into the Macca thing. So smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. We are on our way to 500 subs. Yes, we are on our way to 500 subs. Thanks to everyone out there. I appreciate everything and all that you do. But yes, yesterday was a match day. It's Tuesday, and we're going to get into it real quick. I also, I'm going to throw it out there early doors. I'm going to say it right now or put it out there right now. Anyone wants to come in and have their say, having their say. There you go. Feel free to come in, let you in the show, have your say. Do not have to put your camera on, FYI. If you want to come on, just talk. Happy to do that too. Don't need your camera. I appreciate that. So, anyways, Michael Wolf's in the house. What up? Yo, how you doing, man? Yo. Good to see you. But yes, let's get my first overall thoughts about the game yesterday. Obviously, we were on the post 90 yesterday. The post 90 with the gentleman, Sean and Baz. It was fun. Always getting on there. I think we'll be doing more of that. It seems to be growing out and seems to be getting a little more popular. And we will be. Putting this. We will be putting it through on. I figured out how to put it on the TLP channel. So that is something we're going to be doing. Also, Sheldon was in the Discord chat. If you're not in the Discord chat, you're missing out. I'm just saying, if you're not in the Discord chat, you're missing out. So Sheldon wants to put up a show on Thursday. I don't know if he actually wants to put it up on TLP, but if he's out there, he wants to watch the Stockport game tomorrow, which I can't because I have a work event as of right now. If something cancels, maybe I can do that. But Sheldon wants to watch the Stockport match tomorrow, and because they are playing Salford City, that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. my time, I think it's 8 p.m. his time. So we can maybe set that up. But if you're interested, let us know. We could maybe set that up for you tomorrow. Ken, sorry, I'll get to Kieran in a second. Hi, TLP. Hey, Ken, Josh here. How you doing? Would have been great to have the win yesterday, but currently second. Yes, it's currently still second. Ken, that's what I'm saying. Goalless, not soulless. Like, there's a couple things that happened yesterday that I'm not. It wasn't great, but we're second place. Yes, I know that. Excuse me. Stockport have 2 games in hand, and they got to play them out. And you always want to have the points on the board, but you never know. But we're in second place, and I didn't think it was the worst effort yesterday. Kieran, UTC, what's going on, mate? Finally, Kieran didn't jinx his own game. Newport County won 5-3 against Morecambe, so that must have been a fantastic match to watch. Good to see you, Kieran. Hope you had a good traveling away. Alex the Oracle was in yesterday watching that match. But my overall thoughts yesterday on the match were the fact that, listen, it was one of those games that needed a goal and never came. It needed a goal and didn't come. We had made no changes, which I was okay with. I thought that was all right. The one change I probably would have made with Palmer. Palmer looked a little leggy up front. It didn't have a bad game, but I maybe have made a change up front. I mean, we didn't even change the goddamn bench. In fact, they didn't even change the thumbnail when they put it out on X yesterday when they announced the team. So I thought that was very interesting. That's a very telling. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think Red Horde and Sean actually said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That both of us actually said the same thing. I might have changed up front Palmer. That's probably my only ones. Also, hindsight armchairing it. I know John out there, John H had said, maybe sit Macca. Listen, Macca was out there for 73 minutes before he got that foul and got his yellow card, so he'd be missing the next 2 matches. Headband, I still believe in the headband. I do. I think Macca has played great. It was a dumb foul. It really was. He did actually. I know we call it the professional foul, but for fuck's sake, did not need to make that. It was so sloppy and clumsy. I think his aggression got the better of him. The game before that, he actually pulled out of the challenge and didn't do it, and that's what he needed to do this. They were never going to score. In fact, I think we only had 3 shots on target. I don't think anyone was going to score yesterday, unless it was a peno or a deflected. No one threatened. Absolutely no one threatened. And we can look at the stats from yesterday's game, but God damn it, I feel like no one was going to score. And as early doors, here we go. Ken wants to come in, so I'm going to do it. Let's do this. Ken wants to come in. I see him wearing his jersey. Got the black jersey on. I love it. Hey man, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, welcome. First time on, correct?
First time, yep.
Yeah, cheers. Tell us about yourself. I always go origin story. I don't know if you watch any of my interviews with everybody. Origin story. Who you are? Well, obviously you're Ken. Where are you from? Tell us a bit about yourself, and let's get into it.
Yeah, Brisbane, Australia.
Oh yeah.
So way different time zone. So it's nearly 11 o'clock in the morning here.
Oh, wow.
Thursday.
Okay, fantastic.
11 o'clock Thursday. Yeah. Long time sport player, but never played football.
What sport did you play?
Played tennis as a high level tennis as a junior.
Yep.
I did wakeboarding after that, and currently play a lot of golf.
No, okay, yeah. Well, golf was key. Last time I was out playing golf, I pulled my back out and then I sneezed. So I love golf, but I'm getting old, my man. I'm getting old. Let's talk about the game a little bit yesterday. If you want to get in there and talk a little bit about it too. I think. Let me ask you this: do we want Kieran to come in and gloat about his win, or you want to wait a minute or should we have him backstage? You tell me.
I'm happy either way. Kieran did us a favor yesterday, so I'm all good with that.
Oh, fuck it.
Or you can kick him out. I don't care.
All right. Well, let's see. We might kick him out. We'll bring him in now. Oh, there he is. Here. You know what? We'll give Kieran to follow us on Twitter out there, so he's got a neck up on it. There we go. So he can't see his jersey. But how you doing, Kieran? Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's good to see you both. I mean, I won't gloat about it. I mean, I can be here and say, oh, you didn't see any goals, and I saw 8 in a game. But at the end of the day, kind of a needed result from our end. And I don't know whether it directly helps you, does it? I feel like Morecambe and Wrexham it's quite a bigger table difference between the two. But if we're talking Newport playoff ambitions, which is still scary to think about, I suppose that helps us out in a way.
Yeah, we're dealing with the win. Go ahead, Ken. We're dealing with winning the league. You guys, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, look, I think, I think there's only 6 teams left that could realistically make the top 3. And I think all these teams battling it out in the lower division that still have a chance of playoff means that when they come up against the top teams, they're going to be more motivated, which is going to make the games tighter and harder to win.
Yep. Real quick, and then so I was talking to Ken about what he thought about the game, real quick, and then I think what before you came on, Kieran, what do you think of the game yesterday? Obviously, I love that black jersey; it looks awesome. What do you think about the game yesterday?
Me?
Yeah, Ken. Yeah.
I thought the game yesterday. I mean, look, Harrogate made it very hard playing back off the ball, like making it very hard to attack, and we probably didn't dissect them up well enough through the game, but we played great. McLean made a professional decision to make that foul just to make sure they weren't going to score. In my opinion, he did have the break on him. He had a couple of meters on him. And he thought, cannot give away a goal here, and he just made that call, which is going to cost him 2 games. But that's the life of a professional footballer. Yeah.
I think he played well. I think he played well pulling out of it. Pulling out of the challenge. I thought that's one he could have done. I thought the headband was there. Looking at the board right now. Tranmere beat Mansfield. You guys beat Newport. Notts went down again. AFC Wimbledon won. There were some results yesterday. They're very interesting as far as looking at the table, Kieran. Well, how does that look for what you see in your eyes? And Stockport plays tomorrow against Salford City.
I mean, there's a lot to look forward to, and I think yesterday's results definitely benefited Stockport over the teams in the promotion race. Like you said when you started off, they've got 2 games in hand. Yes, you'd rather the points on the board, but you look at the games that they've got. I mean, Salford's it's a massive game for them in terms of occasion, in terms of location. It's their I suppose the closest thing you can put to a derby game for them. So that's the reason it's televised and all this stuff. So
televised tomorrow? Your game is televised tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah, the game's televised. That's the reason it's been moved to a Thursday. Originally, it was going to be a Tuesday, but it was moved to Thursday for television rights. And then instead of them playing on Saturday, which they would normally do, they play on Monday instead. So it's all moved around for their TV schedules and everything. But yeah, I mean, I saw the tackle you were all referring to in terms of McLean will now be out for the next 2 games, and I'd usually go, I mean, is it going to be worth the next 2 games not having his presence on the field there? But I also do then realize, I mean, this league's so close that I generally think that point could be something that differentiates. If you still want to talk title first and second, if you're still in the mindset of top 3 would be good enough, it could be something that differentiates 3rd and 4th. So I think it's definitely the professional decision and the very much the selfless decision to make. And who knows, it could prove to be absolutely massive come the end of the season. You'll be talking about that foul as a genuine tactical masterclass, as opposed to changing 3 players on a pitch.
Yeah. Pat, Ken, what do you think on that one? I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I was still going to play him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was happy that he made the call. I mean, professional athletes, they just have to make those decisions at times, and it's a spur of the moment. He's got a split second to make that call. Does he think he's going to get the goal? Does he not? And he made the call. I mean, we've got plenty of depth. We're trending fairly well in terms of our games, and players are going up and down, and Stockport really needs to turn their season around. They've been trending down lately, so that's not great for them. But I think that basically at the end of the day, they have to just keep pushing forward, and the players will only be thinking about winning the championship, because they don't have a mindset about, let's just be top 3. They want to win, and if they win, top 3 takes care of itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So as I look at the table right now, I see Newport 12th, Morecambe in 11th, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Walsall is out of it. Is it this 8th? Who gets in? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
Wimbledon are in it. I think Walsall are a team just out of them.
Okay, yeah, and looking at things, and as Ken just mentioned about Stockport there, Stockport have 2 games in hand on everybody at this point. You know what I mean? So, if we're looking at this table, pushing for promotion, listen, one guy can't mess up a whole team. And I don't like that he lost that. But like, we're looking at that because it's top 3 go up, obviously, but it's like, there's 6 or 8 teams that can do this plus a promotion. How is this going to shape out? I mean, the bottom half of the table is what it's going to be. Notts County, I've lost 5 on the bounce, by the way. Just I don't like, it's a lot of red there. There's just taking the shape here and how this could play out for the next 9 matches. Kieran, what do you think?
First of all, I will very briefly be very confused about Notts County, because they are the best team I've seen Newport play twice. They've beaten them twice, convincingly twice. So the fact they're 5 losses on the bounce and they will probably situate themselves in that bottom part of the table is it's unique. It's very unique and strange to see. But obviously they're not the focus of this entire discussion. It's more the entire league, Wrexham, and that kind of automatic push.
By the way,
really
Kieran,
weird.
Up there, I heard that they have. I heard on one of the. I think it was the Ramble that there is a scheduled press conference tomorrow for Notts County. Is that correct? Has anyone else, Ken or Kieran, did you guys hear that?
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about that, but if you look at their form guide in line with when their manager left and the rumors that have been going around their club when the manager was going to leave, that just ties in perfectly with that, and it probably shows you how much faith their squad had in their manager. And then losing him, and it's just obviously that's just gone through the whole organization.
Yeah, you think that's gone that fast, guys? You think it's been that quick? I mean, I don't know the manager that well. Kieran, obviously, you've been a little bit more entitled to the league, but
I mean, I can't say I know him entirely, really, really well. I know that he was a semi-professional coach before making the move to Notts County. Was it Wealdstone he moved from, if I'm not mistaken? So. He had experience and he was doing relatively decent. from my.
Well, last year in the National League, it was us and them, and they were arguably a better attacking squad and definitely a more clinical squad on the ball than us. So they obviously had great systems in place with him.
Stuart Maynard, we're talking about, right? Stuart Maynard, yeah,
right? Yeah,
yep. He's younger than me. Shit.
Go ahead. I mean, I remember talking to like a few fans that had seen the way that he played and seen the way he set his team up, and it does sound very much like he plays a similar style to what Luke Williams tried to adapt. He had that possession game, that really quick tempo attacking football. He had it down to a T for a good majority of his time at Notts, but it looks like it's a little different. It's a little more, as opposed to patient, it's a little bit more direct. It's a little bit more, get it from A to B as quick as possible rather than as, maybe efficient, as safe as possible. And that could cost them, and it has cost them in recent weeks when it comes to them conceding goals. They'll misplace a pass or anything in between. So, I mean, I think the press conference are the kind of, I also haven't heard about it, but should be the sign of it. I wouldn't be surprised, because you talk where Notts County were as short as 3-4 months ago. They were in conversation for playoffs, or even towards Christmas they were in the top 4, a point off top 3. So it's something that I think needs addressing, but I don't think it's something that Notts fans should necessarily hold against him and should necessarily, be really aggressive and hostile towards him, because losing a manager like Luke Williams, who, got them back to the EFL for the first time in however long, he played some really nice football with them and all this other stuff. And like I'd mentioned, the two styles of football are ever so slightly different. So it's something that it will take time. It's another transitional period. Luke Williams didn't have immediate success with Notts. It took him a little while to get his set of style on the players, and in all admittedly,
I mean,
and now the season is over in that regard.
Yeah, sorry, Ken. Go ahead, Ken.
So, and now they're below Newport.
It's really, this league is unbelievable. So I can even talk this in the Newport aspect. Walsall 8th, they're above us. We beat them 3-0 at their place, and they're probably the worst side I've seen all season.
Walsall.
Harrogate, we played them. We played Harrogate a week and a half ago, and we beat them 4. We beat them 3-4-1.
They won 5 on the bounce. Like, I mean, just.
If you look at the game before the beginning of their run, we were the team that played them and beat them 3-0 at their place, and worst team I've seen all season. I mean,
they can.
Harrogate.
They played us at the park. I thought they played us at the park. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they played great against us, and that, I guess, goes back to that talk around the form that teams are going through, in and out of form. They played terrible against you, and then they played great against us, and they were on a run. I mean, and I would say right now, Newport's probably the last team that could make the top 7, and they would need to obviously finish off great to do it. So, beyond you guys, I don't think anybody else can make the 7. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as a Wrexham fan, I don't care about that. I'm worried about us making the top 3 and winning the league, possibly.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Oh no, that's why I'm very much not getting ahead of myself and saying, oh yeah, we'll get playoffs and we'll do all this and all that, because for Newport's season ambitions in comparison to what you'd have with Wrexham, it was very different. We were worried about going down. So if you would have asked me back in August, where would you be satisfied with finishing? I'd tell you 22nd on goal difference and I would be fine. So the fact that you're even saying, with 9 games to go, hey, Newport, the last team to talk in the playoffs, mentioning our name there may as well just have us in playoffs anyway, because it's absolutely surreal. And some of the moments we've had this season are ones that, you kind of can't...
You never forget.
You can't replicate, and I'm not going to complain at all. But in terms of the football, I mean, you played Harrogate, you drew 0-0 to them. I'd imagine that was a solid defensive display on their end. Very much.
that's where I was going to go next with it. But yeah, that's what I was to say. That the
Yeah.
defense, but no, go ahead. No, we'll pass.
Yeah. So you played them at home, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, yeah, we were home.
We played them at their place, and I think it was we either beat them 3-1 or 4-1, and shipped goals against them. And usually at this point in a League Two season, or you even look all the way around the EFL, teams, you'll know where they'll finish. You'll kind of know what position of the table. There's, below us. You talk below us to Colchester, and you say they're in the bottom half of the table. You talk Colchester, Forest Green, and Sutton, maybe Grimsby if you want to throw them in there, depending on how they go into it. You say those four in the relegation battle, but then you're talking from probably 6th where Barrow are, all the way down to 12th, 13th where Newport are. That's an entirely separate battle. You've then got those other 6 teams that can finish in the top 3. Usually you'd have, we may see it now with Mansfield. You'll know that they're kind of front runners to go up, and they will go up. You may see it with Wrexham now in the next 2 games. I think if you win these kind of next 2 games, or at least heavily compete with them,
we'll be good.
You'll get to a point where you'll probably, with the consistency of this league, or rather the inconsistency of it, you'll see teams potentially like MK Dons. You've seen they've slipped against Grimsby.
They play Crewe in their next match.
Yeah, like you'll notice some of the games now, teams will drop points because of
are they fully committed
lack of squad depth and injuries. And we were talking so long ago, weren't we, about how much how much of a Wrexham squad depth you've got. And I don't remember if this was a point I directly brought up on here, but having a squad with that kind of depth of quality is something that really is going to benefit you towards the end of the season, and it will benefit you in these final 9 games, because being able to actually have the option to rotate and not worry too much about injuries and everything is going to be absolutely massive. Because you talk even Mansfield, they're starting to pick up a few injuries here and there, and they don't have the depth anywhere near the depth that Wrexham have.
And we have 6-pointers coming up too. And Ken, yesterday, Parkinson said he got a lot of things right yesterday. We dominated the game, but the crossing was not standard. We needed to create chances on that regard. And to Kieran's point, he's just talking about like the league can adjust yesterday in Parky. And I know Kieran has ideas on Parky as well, because he watches a lot of it too. What do you think didn't go right for us yesterday in the match? And yes, the rotation, should we have rotated, things like that? Where do you think it didn't have that spark, and what do you think we're going to do moving forward the next couple of games to adjust that, if possible?
Yeah, well, I think that obviously when you looked at yesterday's game and the way that Harrogate were playing, everybody back behind the ball, and we just did not. I think we needed to be crossing the ball into the box way more often, applying a lot more pressure inside the box, which, even though the ref was reticent and didn't really want to give away penalties, at some stage that pressure just will overwhelm a defence constantly. And even though we did have a lot of attacks on goal, I think we could have put the ball in the box a lot more often, and that would have probably made the difference.
It's interesting enough, like I said, like it's goalless but not soulless. We had it, we just didn't have the, and I know, Kieran, I know you saw probably the highlights of that too. Our back line seems to be pretty solid, and I think that, and like I said, I always refer back to Kieran just because he knows the league a little better. Do we need to score goals, or we need to? This is a dumb question, but it's a question. For Parkinson, he's very frustrating because he doesn't sub really. Do we need to score goals, or do we need to defend better, or is it a combination of both? Because I feel like our midfield doesn't really get on the ball much. But for us to, and I'm specifically speaking about Wrexham, do we need to win games or draw, or hope that we get help? And what does Parkinson need to do to get us to promotion?
You shouldn't need to rely on other teams with the position you're in at the minute. The ball is very much in your court for automatic promotion. You're in those spots. Teams have ran out of games in hand other than Stockport, and you'll still be in there even if Stockport win those 2 games in hand. So the ball is entirely in Wrexham's court to actually achieve automatic promotion at very bare minimum. The reality is football, you can talk about how nice your defence is or how well your midfield controls the ball or controls the flow of the game. But if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net, that is the only statistic, the only part of any game of football that actually matters. So the very short kind of answer to it is, and again, it sounds really stupid, but you need to be putting the ball in the back of the net more times than your opposition is. And in terms of what I've seen with Harrogate, and this is why I was nodding so much when the mentions of crosses were mentioned. That's all we did. We put the ball in the box, caused them pressure, and in very stereotypical League Two fashion, you'll have a defender, tackle an attack to the ground, or you'll have the keeper miss the ball, or you'll have the defender miss the ball and it'll bounce back to you. That won't work as much when you get to, League One Championship level, because players will be able to defend that a lot easier and a lot more efficient. But as I always divert back to, there's a reason that you're in there's a reason that these footballers and these teams are in League Two. It's because those finite things, those simple things, when you talk about them, crosses or that kind of thing, they don't defend them as consistently. So, and especially with a Wrexham standpoint, it'll be something that I doubt Parkinson will change, because he's very stubborn with his football and everything. But if you are just throwing players up front and causing teams problems, other than the elites of the division, you talk Mansfield, Stockport, MK Dons and Crewe and everything, so long as you're throwing players up front, more often than not, those defenders will panic and make an error somewhere. There's a reason that footballers are in League Two.
Well, I want to bring that up too, and I know, like I said, I don't know if you watched the full game, but Ken did watch the game. We brought players off late, and we played a diamond up front, putting players on. We had, I think it was JM came on, Fletcher was on. We had Young up front, and we had Bolt up there playing a little bit more forward. Parkinson gets a little stubborn, Ken. I mean, do you think that is something that he should do a little bit earlier to try to press and hope we can maybe make a little more impact rather than being on 82 minutes and hoping to get that out?
I think Parky could have possibly recognised that this style of game was on the cards and not just subbed them earlier, actually played them. Because those in that regard, we played on the weekend, we play midweek, we're playing again on the weekend, and it would have been a great opportunity with some form to rest a couple of players at this stage of the season with only 8 games to go now, that we could have absolutely taken advantage of that opportunity. But, I mean, then, to play devil's advocate, you sit on the flip side and you go, by playing the same team on a regular basis, that just builds up partnerships. And you watch the way that Mullen and Lee play off each other constantly, and Mullen yesterday, his one-touch passing was just, you could see he's just been a player that's just been a little bit off, and you can tell he is trending up very well. I think I can expect to see a lot more goals from him in the back end of the season. He's just looking like he's coming into better and better form every game.
And Karen, we got a couple of 6-pointers coming up against Stockport and in Mansfield, in there. If you're, like I said, I understand, if you're a Parkinson, and we have this game on the weekend, I mean, are you playing to win these matches going up? I mean, a game against Tranmere, who's just coming off beating Mansfield, what are we going to expect from a Parkinson? More of the same? Think he'll make changes? I know, I know him, but the squad a little bit. What do you think he's going to do anything? He's going to remain? I mean, we have to make a change in the middle of the park. We do.
The answer to if I think he'll do anything, no. I don't think he'll make the change. He's a very stubborn manager. He's very persistent to things, and it's not an insult overly, because he trusts his group of players that he puts in, week out, and evidently, you're still second in the league, and it is working. But you talk Mansfield, Stockport, they're two very different teams.
Right, Ken. What are you saying? Sorry.
And I guess, Kieran, how critical can you be of Parkinson, really? We're sitting second in the league. I mean, if we were sitting 12th, you got every right to say change. Yeah. But yeah, so I agree he won't change. He won't change the squad, I don't think, too much. If he does, it'll be forced resting. Other than that, I think he'll continue to play the squad that he currently does with, Fletcher coming on late, Bolton, these guys. when Young came on in that game, the quality. Well, he went to the corners, and Lee's a great player, but Young is just a better corner taker than Lee. He gets the ball in the right spot.
I don't know what Lee's doing. I don't know if you saw Garrett. Lee just needs to stop taking corners. It just needs to stop there. Adam Cruz says, Faith and Parkey was trying to see if the team that played the last 2 games would show up. I did think they showed up. We just didn't get that goal to break it through the breakthrough. But I think their changes come too late. But you're going to do Parkey. But Parkey's being Parkey. Yeah, exactly. I want to switch it to a little bit back to I want to talk about Crew and Dons real quick. And I know that's more of a top of the table in regard to Newport. I know we're playing Crew at some point, but those teams in the middle of the park there, and it kind of goes back to Newport County. Those teams there, are they trending up? Are they not? They're trying to put 6 into 3 there. Just out of that, how I'm so curious how this story is going to play out. That's so I don't know much about those teams, but what do we think there? We'll go around the horn there again too.
I mean, there's so many storylines for every single team for so many reasons. I mean, you talk Wrexham, brilliant season last campaign, trying to rebuild on that and further improve it. You talk Stockport, they were out of they were in sixth tier of football for a good while, which is National League North. They had fought back. This is if I'm not mistaken, this is either their first or second season back in the EFL. So the fact that they're, immediately back in with the intention of going into
playoffs,
League One, that's good enough. Mansfield, they are in the same bracket of us for how long they've spent in League Two. So we'll go whether you'd want to go back to this. Back in 2013, Newport and Wrexham played in a playoff final at Wembley. Newport won. We went up to League Two. You stayed in the National League. I believe it was called the Conference at that point. But the team who won the league and went up automatically was Mansfield. So we've both been in League Two for exactly the same duration of period, and they've been so close to going up. They've missed out. This is their best chance to do it, and if they don't do it, God forbid. And then you talk the further down, there's more stories to go into it. There's a few teams that are trending upwards. You look at form wise. I mean, Wimbledon had a little bit of a blip, but I think beating, I'll call them Milton Keynes, because I'll call them that. Beating Milton Keynes has done absolute wonders for them. Crawley, yeah, very much a team that have
one of the last 5.
I mean, to say they've surprised is an understatement. Walsall, exactly the same. And then you've got other teams that potentially could slide out. You potentially add Newport into that. When our manager isn't immediately saying that we can't get to the elite level of this division, it doesn't exactly fill us with overconfidence getting playoffs this season. But either way, I'm more than content with finishing 12th. That's fine with me.
Yeah. Gillingham, Morecambe.
Yeah, I think Gillingham, Morecambe, those two in particular, maybe Barrow, but they've kind of kicked on, and I don't know whether they'll be kind of caught up too. But there's a few teams that are trending up. There's a good few that are trending down, and it'll be very interesting to kind of see how it goes. And in terms of the games Wrexham have got coming up, like you said, you've got Mansfield, you've got Crew coming up.
Stockport.
Those are the kind that, is it Stockport and not Mansfield? I remember you saying
game, right? Stockport's our last game.
Our big 2 home games, Mansfield and then Stockport's the last game. We play Crew away. They're the only 3 teams we play, I think, now in the top half of the ladder for the rest of the season. And so that's really important. And when you look at 4th and 5th currently at the moment, that's, as I go back to the table here, is Crew and MK Dons.
MK Dons and Crew, yeah.
And MK Dons have played 38 matches. So they're both currently sitting 2 points out of the top 3. But realistically, they're 3 points out because Stockport's got 2 games in hand on 2 games in hand on Crew and 3 games in hand on MK Dons. So you'd have to think Stockport's at least going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 points out of those couple of games. So that means that they're really looking at us as their benchmark for 3rd place right now. And if one of those teams lose against each other on the weekend, that is a big dent in their season. If they draw, which I'd love to see, and us win, to just give us that bigger gap, that, because they're obviously both going to be very scared about conceding goals. So it'll be interesting to see how that match is played.
Well, I'll ask you, Ken, and I'll go to Kieran too. This is what I want to ask. You brought that up in a second, Ken, and then I want to get Kieran's take on this too. So normally you think about things, right? You just said it right there. They're scared how they're going to play. Everything. I think right now we're a cup tournament game. This is all cup tournaments, right? So I think about, like, if we play Mansfield and Stockport because they're at the top of the table, right? And again, I want to see both have this, but Ken, I want to take you first. Like, if you take them both, do you think I'd be more scared of playing a bottom team or a team that's going to go promotion, or doesn't it matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a little bit of a caution there. So kind of got both your takes on it. Ken, what do you think? Because you brought up that point.
I think at the moment, like, luckily for us, Parky plays to win. He, even late in a game, he will sub players to win matches, not to save matches. So I think, and any team with that mindset, I mean, if you look at our season as a whole, in the first half of the season, we conceded more goals than we have in the second half of the season. We're scoring enough goals, which Kieran touched on earlier, around unless you score a goal, you can't beat a team. One goal, you need one goal to win. So you have to score. And I think the teams that have that, I'm going to say, slightly fearless mindset, they're not afraid to lose. They'll play to win. I think you'll see those will be the teams that end up trending to the top of the table.
Okay, same to you. What do you? I mean, that's a great take on that, Ken. Awesome. What do you think?
Oh no, I entirely agree. I think this is the one thing that you think of smaller teams in terms of the league position. You even talk maybe Harrogate. I would doubt they had played to beat you. I doubt they had played the setup in an offensive style to beat you. And a point for them is a point gained. And the thing that I don't think a lot of people clock onto is the difference between 3 points and 1 point. You have to play 3 games, arguably waste 3 games to get 3 points, and you can just win 1, and you've won that, and you've got your goal difference as well. So playing with
to your point there, sorry, Kieran. To your point there, Ferris Green Rovers are out of the bottom. They're out of the bottom. They beat Bradford City. They're Colchester dropped down. So it's like, you're right. To your point, it's like they're fighting. They're winning. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah, I had said this. I'd said this weeks ago. I'd said this a month or 2 ago when is it Cotterill or someone the guy that had been hired in replacement of Troy Deeney. I'd said they'd have a good chance getting out of it. I'd said Sutton, they're done.
Yeah.
They're not reliable enough. They're not consistent enough in the simple things of the game. And in all fairness, I think they're even run in the way National League clubs run. So they'll be there for a good little while. But Forest Green, I mean, the players they've got far better than 22nd in the league. It's very much a mid-table, even top half kind of a team. You look at it on paper, it just took the right manager and the right mentality to get out of them. And it's part of shame that it's happened so late in the season, but at the same time, you can see they're definitely competing now, aren't they? So, in terms of the teams you want to play,
was there 4
teams? No, I was just going to say their last 4 games, Forest Green, which is hats off to them. They drew with us. They only lost 1-0 to Grimsby. Then they beat Walsall 2-0, and then beat Bradford City 2-0 away. Like, you know, I mean, quality. Like, you got to say fighting to stay in the league, and really hats off.
Yeah, Aaron says Ken nailed it. Parky will chase points like crazy now. We'll see a lot of Moles, Fletch, and Marriott on the pitch at the same time at the end of the matches, just like we saw on Tuesday.
I'd like to see it a little bit earlier, around 20 minutes, 25 minutes to go.
Yes.
The rule of thumb is that you make substitutions about 65 minutes into a game of football. This is to allow them to spend about 5 minutes, adjusting to the tempo of the match, and then you have 20 minutes of added time to kick on. And that is something that man management, I don't think Parkinson's ever done incredibly well at. He's never been fantastic at utilising a full squad. He can build a starting 11, and he can make, he can start the players in the squad that work well together. He can do all this stuff, but in terms of if he's noticing a game isn't working or whatever, he's very, very stubborn and he won't change. And it can be a good thing because you can kind of you can sometimes see on the pitch that these players will know that they've got all the managers backing, and you'll almost see they get a second wind when they haven't been brought off at that point in the game. But at the same time, there's the worry, especially when you're in the EFL and there's 46 games in a league season. When you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, no matter how much belief you have because of how much belief the manager has into you, it's tiring to play 180 minutes of football a week, and then you add training into it as well. So
that's why I have it on a thumbnail. It's like Goalless, not Soulless. And he said yesterday, he said, I thought the lads gave everything. And I think they did. It just wasn't it. He said, he goes on to say there was nothing left out there, but we just couldn't find that killer moment. We know Harrogate have done well away from home. By the way, second best record away from home yesterday. Away from home all season. They sit in and make it difficult. They worked hard, and you've got to give them credit for that. But it was a game on a balance of play we should have won comfortably. Now, do you think we should have won comfortably, Ken? Sorry, I'm bringing it back to the game I put for yesterday. I know we're trying to jump back.
That's
fine.
Go
ahead.
I don't know that we should have won comfortably with the style of game that was played. Those styles of games where a team plays behind all the time, they're those 1-0, if you're lucky, 2-0 games where you just, and I guess we talked back to what Kieran and I were talking about earlier about applying that pressure into the box. That's when those goals come, those mistakes come from defence. And we've done it. We've been guilty of it too. There's a lot of pressure when the ball's coming in the box. Like every minute, every 2 minutes, the ball's in the box. It's like, you only have to make one little mistake, and and attackers are good enough, and you're getting on the game, and that time management in the games, like Kieran's saying, like that 60, 65 minute mark. I would venture to say where Parky's roughly probably around the 75 minute mark, and as Kieran pointed on, adding that up over a season, that's a lot of minutes. But in talking about confidence in the player, if the player knows when he steps onto the park at the beginning of the game, and let's use Ollie Palmer as an example, that he's only going to play for an hour, he knows he can be flat out to that 60-minute mark, and he knows he's off, and then he's going to be substituted. He has the backing of the manager because the manager's already told him what he wants from him. And that, I think, and I think Parky does that, but I think he plays players slightly too long as a general rule. We're just lucky that we have a depth of squad.
I agree. At least 5 minutes, Ken. And it's spot on, Ken. I totally agree with you. Like, could have been some changes. Kieran, I know you don't know the squad that much, but I'm still going to put it to you because it's a Wrexham channel and we're going to do it. But I love having you on. It's awesome. I'm just giving you shit. And by the way, 18 years old, the kid woke up. He was up at 3 o'clock the other day, woke up at 5 to go to the match. Ken, when was the last time you were up, that late and go to a match early? Maybe last week?
Every Saturday, 1 a.m. game here. It's 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I think Kieran, I've watched here a lot, and the way you describe things, Kieran, it's very balanced, and there's a lot of knowledge in what you're saying, which is really great. I love to hear it, and you look at and I think, Kieran, it's a good question to ask you because, I see Mendy's back in form in our team now, and obviously McLean's going to have 2 games off. Who's the player to replace him? Is it like a long-time stalwart like Luke Young, or is it somebody else?
Yeah, good question.
I absolutely love the idea of Mendy playing, and this is because I'm sure you all know the Wrexham fan by the name of Stace. I mean, she absolutely loves Jacob Mendy.
She was getting on you yesterday.
This is why, we always make these jokes of this is why I don't dislike Wrexham, this is why she doesn't dislike Newport, because we've had that mutual kind of boundary, and we've had it the entire time where we're not allowed to rip into each other with seriousness. I've developed almost a liking of Wrexham just because of the.
Let me pause you right there. I got a red shirt back there. If you want me to, I can. We could just get it. You can just put it on. We can make Ken. What do you think? Black, red.
He's got to wear one when he's on.
Right? What do you care? We'll get you one. It's all good. I love it. Secret.
I don't know if I want one of those. I prefer. If I prefer that one up there, but there we are.
It could give you a good reason to watch League One next year.
Yeah. You're still. Uh, oh, shit.
You know, I like League One. I like League One anyway. I do enjoy watching. I watched the Peterborough Stevenage game today. I mean, I really enjoyed that one. But it'll give me an extra reason. It'll give me an extra reason to make jokes if you'll be back down in League Two with us again soon. It'll always be the it'll be the thing that I can always bring the anxiety that we'll go back down again. But
by the way,
no,
look at
I
this.
mean.
United Airlines, and who is that? Pure Sport? Is that like underarm deodorant? What is that? What is on the front of that? I love
It's Pure Vans. It's a van company. It's a van hiring company. This is last season's shirt, so it's branded as Hummel, but I think with the X3 now, if I'm not mistaken. Say if I'm not mistaken, with the X3 in terms of the manufacturers of the kit, but the Pure Vans has not changed in comparison to all of the luxurious sponsors that teams have got. I know that Stockport recently have had Tesla as a sponsor. So I mean if I'm not mistaken, unless Clay's lied to me, so I mean I try and stay as balanced as humanly possible, just because I mean, as much as I support Newport and as much as I always get a little bit of a giggle, especially when Cardiff and Swansea lose, because I don't really have to talk about them ever over so much. You know, I do enjoy watching football. You know, I love football, and I'd imagine, you know, I'd assume you both love football as well. So I try and keep as level head as I can until I'm talking about Newport. Then I will be Newport and Newport only, and I will not talk about anyone else. But
you're always welcome.
I try and keep as level headed as possible, because there's a lot of a lot of people when it comes to talk about football that are not too nice, and I don't like to associate myself with that and label myself as someone that isn't able to talk about teams without all of a sudden being up my own ass.
Yeah, well, I'm still going to make you answer Ken's question here. You're always welcome here on the Local Pundit. You're always one of our local regulars, one of our locals. So Mendy, on that note, I know Ken, puts up to you, and then I'll put it back to you, Ken, with your own question after Kieran there. What do you think? Who do you replace in the middle of the park? Mendy, if I got that right.
No, Mendy. No, I'm thinking McLean. Like Mendy's obviously in, and I think he's there to stay now. He's definitely come to form. It's just McLean's going to get 2 games off, and I have no doubt that Parky will bring him straight back once he's served his 2-game suspension, which ironically will be against Mansfield at home.
No, is that right? No,
after 2-game suspension, yeah.
I'm sorry, you're probably right. You're probably right.
He'll miss Tranmere and Grimsby. He'll miss Tranmere at home, Grimsby away.
Oh no,
those are decent games to miss, in all fairness.
That's what I thought as well. Like, you know, if he was going to miss 2 games, at least he hasn't missed Mansfield or Stockport. I mean, we did get Mansfield at home.
Yeah,
I mean, still got Crew away, so there's.
Okay, sorry, no, sorry. Tranmere and Grimsby. I thought you said Mansfield. Okay, fine, fair enough. Yeah. My bad. My
fault. So he'll miss Tranmere and Grimsby, and who we bring in for that? You know, I mean, Luke Young's obviously on the bench now. Tom O'Connor hasn't got back to the bench yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see McLean. To see Young get a start with possibly O'Connor getting back on the bench now for the next match.
He wasn't on the bench this weekend. I need Stash there. I think I think Stash needs to get back. You know, he's still got it. Yep. He's my guy.
And the other players that are obviously pushing for that start, you know, you look at guys like Bolton, Fletcher's obviously willing to come in. I mean, I know you're not a fan of Dolby, but Dolby's there in a squad rotation position where if he could play as good a role as Palmer plays, like just attracting defenders to leave space for our other attackers like Mullen and Fletcher when he's on. I think that should be Dolby's role at the moment in partnership with Palmer as a in and out type thing, one's in, one's out.
Okay, that's interesting. And then to the Mendy point, back to you, Kieran, what do you put to you earlier? You like Mendy as a player, but who are you putting in the middle of the park to replace Mecca if Stash is available?
Oh, now you kind of stumped me. I'd see my idea is
Right.
My immediate idea is, change shape, be all this, be all that. But
Not gonna do
I
it.
mean, yeah, obviously not. So
Yeah.
even if I comment on it, there's one player that I don't think's been utilised very much. I really like Mendy, and I like to see him feature more, just out of the fact that he's very much a raw talent that you can evidently see he's got ability. He just needs to adapt and get the experience in the English the EFL a bit better. But I do like the idea of Luke Bolton featuring, and I know that isn't his natural position, but at the same time, I think very similar to Mendy, very raw talent, very much one that you can adapt and fit into many different roles. And if I'm not mistaken, he had featured in the midfield for Salford during their severe problems when it came to injuries and everything. So he's got very much experience in it, and as much as you look at right back, or even you look at right wing back, and then you switch it into the midfield, they're not too different of a positions. It very much requires, and especially in the role I'd imagine he will play. It's very high energy. It's very technical, very draining. And I think even playing as a wing back, as a winger, you talk even as a full back, it's very similar. So I think he could adapt to it very well. And I think now that you've got Tranmere, who are in that patch of teams that they don't really have anything to play for. They're very much a mid-table team, and this is where ideally, and you talk of it on two sides. You talk one, it's a must-win. Do you stick with the same thing, just with the reliability that you will get the result? Or you think two, this team don't have anything to play for the rest of the season. Half of them can be, I believe the term is, on the beach at this point. They're not really focused on the football as much. And is it an opportunity for you to experiment? I won't imagine Parkinson will experiment too much, because that's what he's like. But if I was manager of Wrexham, no thank you. I'd be thinking this game, and maybe not admittedly as much next game against Grimsby, because I think they're still in a reality where they're fighting to stay up. I think they will anyway, but they're very much in the bracket of it, and David Artell needs to, I suppose, steer the ship and just make sure that they get over the line, given how poor they were at the start of the season before he came in. So, Tranmere, I think you experiment, you give raw talents Bolton and hopefully Mendy, for Stace's sake more than mine, give him some opportunity to play, even potentially give them opportunity to play against Grimsby, because playing with that level of consistency and that same level of intensity is important when you're talking developing a player, because they need to be able to get used to the Saturday, Tuesday routine, or just the regular week in, week out games. That's what I'd be doing personally.
We're going into the game of the weekend. Ken, what's your lineup?
Well, back three is set now. Like Tozer seems to be out of form. Like Clearworth, O'Connell, and Boyle at the back. Like obviously super solid. Mendy's spot's cemented now. Like he's definitely he won't lose his position barring injury for the rest of the season. I think I like the idea of Bolton. Whoever comes in that midfield now with McLean out for 2 games, it's really important.
By the way, sorry to cut you off before you get to the midfield. I don't think that Barnett's had the best last couple games, so I would like to see Bolton there too, and then move it into your midfield. Yeah.
Well, and you're right. And I mean, Barnett, his opponent just had a little bit more pace than him last game, and the game before Barnett had the pace advantage over his opponent, which meant he actually looked a lot more threatening, and that extra couple of steps. And I think in the midfield, if, like Kieran was saying, you bring in Bolton, one thing Bolton does bring is speed. And with Elliot Lee, he's got speed. If they combine well, that's a massive threat for an opposition. You cannot just replace pace, which becomes a threat. If you get 2 paces on your opponent, they then have to make the decision, like McLean did, do I make a professional foul or not? And that applies so much pressure to a team. But I think
who's going to do the passing? Who's going to do the
passing? Good, but yeah, I was about to say the most important thing is that they provide good quality ball forward, because the game before Mullen got quality ball, and look what happened.
Yep.
You know, it was just an absolute whitewash. It looked like we could score 6-7 goals in that match
Easily.
Easily. And
I mean, we didn't do, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry, I'm totally going to bash what you're going to say before you say it. We didn't press up front at all the last game. We didn't. There was no pressure up front, and we did that and press in the middle of the park. Maka was pressing. You know what I mean? And I want to know who you want to put up front. I'm going to say you're going to say Fletcher and Mullen. I guarantee it. But we didn't press from the midfield up front, and maybe that wasn't the game for it. But there you go. Sorry, I'm totally.
No, you're right. I mean, but I guess it also you have to also take into consideration how they can press against a defence and what the defence is setting up for them to press against. And I think at the moment, and Mullen is really loving having Palmer beside him at the moment. He's creating space for Mullen, and I think that whoever. And if those midfielders, if it was, and we'll use Bolton and Lee as those examples, if they then have the freedom to press forward when Palmer's getting the ball and Mullen's laying off, and and these players can come through, because you can see the partnership that Lee and Mullen have. If Bolton can tap into that, that's deadly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's deadly. That will worry defenses.
So you're going to go Palmer, Malls up front, yeah?
I would stick with it. They look good together. The defense was just they were against too many defenders. Like you said, Josh, they should have had someone else pressing forward, and then more balls to the box against that style of defense. Like it's ugly. It's ugly football, but that's how you win at that game.
Yeah, you knock it down and go from there too. What do you think, Kieran? I know, like you said, Bolton played in the middle of the park for Salford, right? You think that's something that he can perform?
I'd imagine he can perform. I mean, the role he had played at Salford wasn't as, I suppose, demanding in the passing ranges that McLean's kind of role is, where he's the one that has to admittedly make decisions and make the starts to the attacks at very bare minimum. So very different roles, but there's a reason he plays in the midfield, and he can adapt and kind of play different positions. I mean, I've seen him play wing back and all this other stuff, so that evidently shows his pace, like you've mentioned. And this is where, and there was a comment below mentioning that the wing backs and their crossing qualities weren't quite up to speed, and it's a thing that Newport set up with. We play a free back. We very much utilise the wing backs as much as I'd imagine you want. And when you don't have the crossing qualities, you need to find a different way through. And let's be fair, the other way through is centrally, and that's where you talk have an extra man to press the oppositions to create those openings.
Mm-hmm.
But I would set up, again, front two, Palmer and Mullen. I think you kind of keep those two just off of the default of how well they work together. And if you're making, especially Parkinson-wise, if he's making one rotation, he doesn't want to make any more in a start 11. So kind of keep it as similar as possible. And it may be a situation now when you've got this game. It may be a bit. You'll kind of notice you may miss a few things when it comes to passing avenues and the directness that you'd usually associate. But if you can utilize, like it was already mentioned, if you can utilize pace in abundance when you've got it in the midfield, you can play an entirely different way of football, which is sit back, allow a team to press you, and you break them on the attack, and you don't need any fancy through balls or anything, or nice crosses in the box. You can play it very direct. So you could play it very different. You could end up setting it up. Should you end up playing this midfield too, that is the rotation out of usual, you can set it up a lot less advanced and a lot more direct, almost the way that Notts County enjoy playing. Keep hold of the ball and wait for the oppositions to make mistakes.
Press in the middle and press up front. That's my opinion. I think that's the best what we could do. We've been getting in the box. I think Ken hinted at that a little bit too. But yeah, we got a game. Go ahead, Ken. Sorry.
I was going to say, and Parky won't change his style of play.
No.
Like he's got the team drilled into it, but I think even just with Bolton's pace, as much as Luke Young's been a part of the team for so long, and he is really the captain of the team, he's only not the captain when he doesn't start. He takes the band when he comes on. I think Bolton would be a great addition in the middle, and I think that can definitely be a squad for the next 2 games. I mean, Bolton and McLean, you mentioned it, Kieran, they're different players. McLean's a bigger presence. He's a more physical presence. And so therefore he's harder to push off the ball. But then the flip side to that is Bolton will just beat you with pure speed.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see what he's going to do for this match. I'm excited about it. Take it on, and I know we're at the hour mark here. We have our game on Saturday. Remember, it's an hour difference. Hopefully everyone will be like Ken. I'm sure you'll be around too. Before I'll give you the last bit for Newport County. Who do you guys play? I'll give you 1 minute before we bore everyone with the Newport shit. But go ahead. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Go ahead. I love you.
My apologies. You have to listen to our upcoming game for a minute long about our trip to Plough Lanes and play AFC Wimbledon. Very much high flyers in the league, 7th. And if we want to talk playoffs, we need to win on Saturday. If we want to talk the chance of it, we need to at least get a point. A point on the road would be pretty decent, but a win would be far more ideal for the very obvious reasons.
It's a 6
Don't know how it's going to. It's a 6-pointer. Very much a 6-pointer, and I think a lot of our games going into the rest of the run-in is a 6-pointer, and even a lot of games going into your run-in is very much a 6-pointers. I'm always going to go into it with optimism that we'll win, because what football fan would I be if I didn't say we're going to win every single game 3-4-0?
Exactly.
I'll say if we start off well, like we did against Morecambe, we score early. Very different Morecambe, because they tend to not give up every single time you score against them. They never kind of cave into pressure. But I think Wimbledon are very different. If we score against them early, we may have the potential to score more against them, and it really depends on the opening 10, 15 minutes. But you know what? I'll say we'll stay in the playoff race. I'll say we'll win it 2-1, and it'll all be nice and dandy, and I'll be back on here having to talk about Wrexham, of course, but I'll be very happy within the Newport fan of me there. And I might not have a Newport shirt on the next time we chat, but that will always remain in the background. No, you'll always know.
No, hey, listen, we'll be live at our game. I know Ken will be in the chat and probably come in a little bit too. So you keep us posted. I call you out when you're there. So just drop us, let us know what's going on when you're at your match.
So long as I'm not putting in your chat, we're gonna win and we concede the second after I say it, because it happened against Morecambe as well. I said we were 3-2 up. I put my phone down and the ball was in the net. I was like, shit. Again. Like, thankfully, it was a bit different. It wasn't quite 90th minute. We scored 4 minutes after, but Christ, I should never talk about the scoreline. About the scoreline with you, because every time I do, we concede.
Ken, did you see that? He literally, on the game before you played Stockport, 92nd minute, he goes, we're going to hold this out, right? It was in the chat, and then all of a sudden I see in flash score, it goes 1-0, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Actually, I forgot about that. Yeah, Kieran, you really wrecked that for us, because that would have made a big difference for us. So,
it would have made a lovely difference, and it would have made a lovely difference to us, because we'd be 3 points off now, and it's so frustrating, because we set up like how I'd imagine Harrogate set up. Don't attack, everyone behind the ball, try and get a point. Yeah. And we didn't get the point. We were so close. And admittedly,
you ruined our day. You ruined everything for us.
Listen, all right, if Townsend didn't have a game like prime Buffon, we would have been talking about a 7-0 game there, because Christ, the amount of chances Stockport had. I'm never going to talk about scoreline. I'm never talking about scorelines and stoppage time in this chat ever again.
Yeah, never. But you're always you can't. I love it. All right, enjoy your match. Enjoy your match. We'll see you on the weekend, my guy. All right.
Of course. Take care, both.
Good. All right, Karen. See you, man. Oh man, I can't.
That's so funny.
He's such a good dude. I love him. He's so good. All right. I know what is it? I don't know what time it is for you, man, but it's good to have you on. It's good to chat. Always welcome, man. It's good to catch up. Good to see your face for the first time. First time caller, long time listener. Love it, man. Love it.
Let's go for the weekend. I think 3-0.
All right, well, there we go. All right, cool. We'll do I got a Thursday show and probably a Friday preview show. Probably put it out there if you want to come back on. Always welcome, man. But thank you so much. Good to meet you in person too. Good to meet you. Good stuff. All right. Nice. See you later. Cheers. And that's Ken and Kieran, both good guys. I said everyone is welcome at all times, man. We've always had Mike on and Ives and Sheldon and everybody. So growing the community, it's so much fun, man. So much fun meeting good people. So Aaron said, it's all Kieran's fault. It's all Kieran's fault, man. Man, I feel bad. He's such a good guy. Such a good guy. Anyways, all right. It is time for me. It's been on for a little bit over an hour. It's Wednesday, hump day. You got just army crawling through the weekend to the game. Tomorrow is a Stockport match. I know that Sheldon, like I mentioned earlier, the Sheldon wanted to do a watch along for one of the other matches for what the hell match it was with the Stockport game tomorrow versus I don't know what the Stockport game. Anyways, he's happy to do it. If he wants to do it on the channel, happy to do it. I'll touch base with him, or I don't know if he's watching or not watching, but he's probably asleep. Actually, he's about 9 hours ahead. Anyways, I'm babbling. Goalless, but not Soulless. Goalless, but not Soulless. He had a good result yesterday, but the fact that Mansfield Town lost against Tranmere Rovers, who we're going to play, and I believe we can go out and win that match on Saturday. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll do a Wrexham news and update show. Also, remember we're doing the post 90s with the Red Horde with Sean and Racehorse Ramble. So those are good guys, good dudes. We're meeting doing a lot of nice things with them, growing this community really well, and the channels are also getting along too. There's no hate, which is kind of cool. What else? Live show on Saturday morning, live watch along, and on our way to 500. So smash a like on the video, get involved in the Discord. 500 subs is just around the corner, which would be great. Also, we didn't talk about this yesterday. There's going to be a game in Santa Clara for Wrexham versus Chelsea. I'm going to the match. I will be going to the match. Kieran, never talking about live scores. You might never going to hear. No, you will not. But you're always welcome, my guy. Love it, man. Love it. I will be going to the match. I need to buy my tickets. I will be going to the match. I think it's July 24th or whatever it is. Planning on possibly doing something maybe the night before. We will see live of some sort. We'll see what's going on, but that's my plan. 1:42, a bit late for Thursday morning. Yes, Hugh Davies, go back to bed. I'm about to run it off, but yeah, tomorrow I'll let you know we're going early. But good to see you, Hugh. Good to see you, Hugh. Yes, so I will keep you all updated in regards to what. I'll keep you all updated in regards to what the plan is for the Santa Clara game. On the, I know we're a few months away, but I'll keep everyone posted on that. But I'm planning on doing a thing. Producer Ann's going to come, which is great. So the better side of me will be coming as well. But we'll keep you posted on that. But good to see Hugh Davies in there. Also, send me over a new Discord link. It doesn't work on the community section on your channel for whatever reason. I just updated it, Kieran, but let me know if it doesn't work. And I'll send it to him. Actually, I'll just update it. It's on my YouTube. I think it's on my YouTube page, man, or my Twitter, or YouTube or Twitter or something like that. I just updated it. So Will Ambo says 100. Good to see you, man. Okay, babbling now. Good to see everybody. Fun show. Lots of fun. Smash the like on the video, and I will. I'll keep everyone posted. Show tomorrow, and then the preview show on Friday. So on that bombshell, I will see you.